Hey Nerdgenic Nation, and welcome to History Of. I'm your host and resident superhero nerd, Aaron Waller, and this is the series where we do a deep dive into various comic book characters, both heroes and villains, and give a little bit more insight as to who they are and why they do what they do. Now in today's episode, we're talking about a character that I have a little bit of bias against their predecessor and their sort of who they follow. But that is by no means what I think about this actual character, who is totally awesome and way better than that predecessor, and that's Riri Williams, aka Ironheart. Ironheart was created by Brian Michael Bendis and Mike Deodato, and first appeared as her normal self in Invincible Iron Man Volume 3, Number 7 in 2016, and then would later appear as Ironheart in Issue 3, Volume 4 of Invincible Iron Man that following year. Riri Williams was born not long after the death of her father and would grow up with her sister Sharon, mother Ronnie, and stepdad in the South Shore of Chicago. She would be identified as a super genius at a young age of 5 years old after having some behavioral problems in school, but her level of intelligence caused her to not have many friends, but she did make one, Natalie Washington, and then would be given a scholarship to MIT. Not long after, however, her whole family and best friend would be caught in the middle of a drive-by, causing the death of her best friend and her stepdad. She would then later start a secret project and challenge herself to build her own Iron Man suit by stealing materials from around her school campus, but when security caught on to her, she used the armor and flew away. During her escape, she would encounter a few escaped inmates and end up wrecking her armor. Tony Stark would then visit Riri and endorse her aspirations to becoming a superhero, and she would end up assisting Iron Man during the second Civil War event fighting against Captain Marvel. After the events of Civil War II, Riri would continue Stark's legacy and with the help of an AI version of Stark, build an improved armor and take up the name Ironheart. Though this would be admirable, it would also end up putting her in a massive amount of danger, as having a similar look to Iron Man would catch a lot of his enemies' attention and put a big target on her back. It's not like Tony Stark has any enemies or anything. She would eventually go on to be monitored by S.H.I.E.L.D., given the keys to an old Stark lab, and be offered a position in the teenage group of heroes called the Champions. She even became the leader of Latveria after being sent to take down a war criminal who was running the country. After winning, she helped free the country and make way for their first free election. She would eventually go on an adventure with the Champions to space to help Nova save the Chitauri from genocide, but Riri recklessly encounters and attempts to take on Thanos, who destroys her and her armor very easily, before sparing her life as the Champions indirectly helped him to defeat the Chitauri warlord. After returning home, she would go on several other adventures with her teammates. She would accept an offer to MIT to have her own lab and have totally new resources at her disposal. She would also go on to battle the 10 Rings during this time in Wakanda and help Shuri, Okoye, and Silhouette, and discover that her father was actually alive and leading a group seeking the Well's power. She would be able to defeat the forces and be given high honors by Wakanda, as well as help them build an armada for their space program. Not long after, however, Riri would be forced to hang up the armor as the Underage Superhuman Welfare Act outlawed teenage vigilantes, though she would still have the AI power of the suit and do various missions alongside the Champions. They would eventually have to go on the run, however, before bringing down the corrupt Cradle team, and thus be able to go back to heroing. Now, Ironheart has also appeared outside of the comics, such as in Marvel Rising: Heart of Iron, an animated special, and Marvel's Spider-Man, both times being voiced by Sophia Wiley. She's also appeared in several Marvel mobile games and will soon be making her big screen debut in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and her own standalone Disney Plus Ironheart series, which should be played by Dominique Thorne. Most of her abilities come from the armor in which she builds, much like Iron Man, and honestly there's not a whole lot of difference between her and Iron Man and Tony Stark. She's constantly learning from various situations, tinkering and upgrading her suits for the next battle, very much like Stark did. And now for my favorite part here on History Of, the recommended reading section, where I give you a list of comics where you can go and find out a little bit more about this character as well as see her in action. First up, we have Invincible Iron Man Volume 3, Number 7, which as I mentioned is the first appearance of Riri Williams. But if you want to see Riri putting on the suit and taking up the Ironheart name, you definitely want to check out Invincible Iron Man Volume 4, Number 3. Up next, I'd recommend pretty much any story from the Champions comic, whether it be Volume 2, 3, or 4. This way you'll see Riri in a team setting, going on various missions that range from fun and out of this world to very dramatic and kind of tough to deal with. But probably one of the best comics to check out is the standalone Ironheart series, which is Riri's standalone series that focuses solely on her and is probably the best place you'll get to see the character in action, in the suit, doing her own thing, and really getting to deep dive into her story. So those are some of the major things you need to know about Riri Williams. Was there anything in this video you may not have known otherwise? Let me know down in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, be sure to leave me a comment as to any suggestions of future characters you would like to see on this series. Your suggestion just might become next week's video. And also while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell notification so you don't miss out on any future videos from me or the rest of the Nerdgenic team. And also be sure to give us a like and follow across all social media platforms at Nerdgenic so you don't miss out on any special news, announcements, or articles at nerdgenic.com. But in the meantime, if you want even more video content from us, make sure to check out these videos on screen, like this video right over here from Russ with his latest video game review, or Ash's latest video right over here if you love some anime. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. We really do appreciate it, and we hope to see you in the next video.